Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And also honor and salutations to those of you who are the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word of sincerity and truth. I wanted to talk about this pastor or preacher, Bishop Marvin Winans. He recently, or a video recently, popped up of him chastening, in so many words, a member of the church for only giving him $1,200. And I saw that, and I, I guess it's to be expected, right? But it did make me think through it, and after meditating on it, came to the conclusion things like that are what make people turn away from the church. I grew up in the Baptist church, and not fully, right. I was my dad. Well, just give you if you haven't heard these stories before, but my father was in a bunch of different black consciousness movements. But my tenure, I guess, in the Baptist church was from my grandmothers, my paternal and maternal grandmothers. And so, being that I was always with my grandmothers, I was always at church, right? But then I would, come home and be debriefed by, by my father, Black Power and all those kinds of things. But one day though, just to give a testimony, my dad, we were at church with my maternal grandmother. It was me. I forget. It was like an event that was going on that my grandmother wanted us to come see her at the church. Something she was doing, and they had come to a point in the sermon where there was like, if there's anybody looking for a special prayer, just stand up, and the congregation is going to pray for you. And so, for the first time in my life, I seen my dad stand up, and because he was going through something at the moment. I can't remember what exactly, but that's what happens. You get broken down, and that's when people want to turn to the Heavenly Father, which is fine. That's what you're supposed to turn to. Uh, but what I want to say is my father, even more so than me, grew up in the Baptist church because his mother was in the Baptist church. My grandmother was on the usher board. She was in the choir, or whatever the church needed her to do, she was going to do. So my father was a fixture in the church. He was in the choir growing up, so forth and so on. But as he became a man, he got turned off from Christianity, and it didn't speak to a young man's warrior like spirit, especially my father. My father was a fighter. And so Christianity didn't speak to that, turning the other cheek, and all of those things that they harp on in Christianity didn't mesh with him, and so he turned to uh, the Black consciousness community. But I say all of that to say my father is not the only one, right? And Christianity has put a bad taste in people's mouths about the scriptures, and this is why. As a matter of fact, let's just go to this real quick. Oh shit, let's go here. Do this. Uh, this is First Corinthians 4:9. It says, "For I think that the Most High has set forth us, the apostles, last, as it were appointed to death, for we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men." And so the point here being that the Heavenly Father has set up the apostles last, right? Because in setting up the apostles, First and foremost, the apostles of Great Millstone. The word in its purest form is being pushed into all the world, and we know, matter of fact, I think that's Matthew 24, gospel, all world. Yeah, and as we know, right, it says this, Matthew 24 and 14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. And so the Lord set up the apostles last, right? And now we've taken the helm, if you will, and now because of that, the word is being pushed in its purest form. We're not looking to gain any money. We're not looking to gain any members. We're not looking to gain any special attention, any popularity. And so, because of that, the word can be delivered with purity, right? This was a part of the problem that the Lord Yahweh Shai had with the scribes and Pharisees. They were holding on to their authority seat solely for the authority seat, not to teach the people, not to correct the people, right? And who was that authority given to them by? The Romans. And so them trying to maintain their spot with the Romans, right, maintain their authority over the nation of Israel, they were more concerned about that than they were about teaching the people. And when there's ulterior motive in that way, then it the word is not being presented properly. And in this case with this guy Bishop Winans, I keep forgetting his first name. Click over here. I think I have it pulled up here. Yeah, Marvin Winans is no different, right? Now here it is. What it sounds like in the video is that he has asked the congregation to donate $1,000 plus another additional $1,000. And this woman, which looks, mid 40s to mid 50s. I don't know how old she is, but she's got a little boy with her. And what it looks like is that they as a family, her and this little boy, are presenting this money to the congregation. He stops her like, "Hey, but that's only $1,200." And she goes, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, y'all not listening to me." I said $1,000 and then another $1,000. And so it's a shakedown in there. And if you're a man, being shaken down like that to get all your money is going to put a bad taste in your mouth, right? And that's what has turned the nation. Well, there's been a litany of things that turn the nation of Israel away from the scriptures, but these types of things are what are part of what turns our people away from the scriptures and puts a bad taste in their mouth. And they even associate what we do with Christianity, and it's obvious, right? We're using the Bible, so they associate it with that. But um asking people for money, basically turning them upside down like they used to do in the cartoons, and shaking them by the feet so all the change drops out of their pocket is what's going on in that church. And no edification is going on because no one knows about the prophecies that are coming to pass. Nobody knows that they're Israelites. No one's dressed properly, right? No, the men don't have beards on their faces. The women are not adorned in modest apparel for the most part, right? So no edification is being put out, but they want to make sure that they're getting their money. And so this is what I really wanted to touch on. You know, the scriptures talked about people that would use the truth or use the Bible for their own gain, right? And through the grace of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the proper people have been given the word, and in turn, the word has been delivered uh, untarnished, and untainted. And so now we've been able to take that word and hit the ground running, if you will. Right. So um, I want to start with see what I got set up here. I wanted to start with, yep, this is let's go here. Go here. So, yep. Boom. This is Jeremiah 23 and 1. It says, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, saith the Lord. And I second that. You know, the Lord is going to do a number on the world in general, but the people that have taken his word and tarnished it, because the Heavenly Father is very serious about his word. So much so that he turned it into a man who gave us the example on this earth. So the Heavenly Father is doesn't joke around or play with his word, but that's what these pastors are doing, right? It's a money grab. They saw an opportunity to make a few dollars. I've told this story before, but I had a friend in the world when I first started getting into the truth. He goes, fine. Well, if you're going to do that, then why don't you just start your own church then so you can make some money? And I was like, yeah, and I'm not in it for that. I'm not in it for that. And again, that's how you deliver the word in its purity, when there's no ulterior motives, when you're solely in it for ultimately the fear of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Right. See. Yep. Yep. So let's go to the next precept here. hmm Let's go back over here. hmm This is Ezekiel 13 and 2. Son of man, prophesy against the prophets of Israel that prophesy, and say unto them that prophesy out of their own hearts, hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord power, woe unto the foolish prophets that follow their own spirit and have seen nothing. Right? And here's one of the keys here: prophesy out of their own hearts. Just the things that they want for themselves, right? And this was the Lord Yahweh's problem with the scribes and Pharisees and them having the word. They wanted to be in the top seats, and in the matter of fact, let's go to that. Let's go to that. I think that's I think it's Matthew 23, I think. Yep. Let's go over here. This is Matthew 23 and 1. It says, then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and Pharisees, I'm sorry, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. But do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. All right. Those pastors and preachers in the Christian church ain't worried about doing the right things. I mean, case in point, I don't know who this guy is, but look, that don't look like no man of the Lord right there. You know, Don Perkins. They all got the same kind of names too. Don Perkins, Winans, and Jenkins. You know, but whatever. It says, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, right? And this is a heavy burden. $1,000 ain't no little bit of money. Not in my life. I can use, I can use I can use $1,000 right now. That's not no small amount of money, man. That's a lot of money. And then this lady might not have had it like that. That's why she gave the 235. The extra $235. She might not have had another 1,000. And she said, well, I'll work on getting that other 800. He cut her off. He didn't want to listen to her. So you basically got to pay your way for your prayers and blessings. That's what the church has become. A place where you got to buy blessings. You got to buy prayers. All right. They're tainting the word. So it says this, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all of their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments and love the uppermost rooms at feasts and the chief seats in the synagogues and greetings in the markets and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi. But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Hamashiach, and all ye are brethren. And call no man your father upon earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Hamashiach. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. And those things are important, man. And so then he gets into, all of these things. Let's read a couple of these. It says, but woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering uh, uh, to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation. You see, so and this is the same thing that the pastors in the Christian church are doing. They're doing the same exact things, just being hypocrites. And it's a blessing to be able to say that we have this word given to us untarnished, where our money wasn't, let's say it this way, where our being taught the word wasn't predicated on what we've given. Right now, Apostle Paul spoke to this. Okay, I'm gonna read it. And I want to read this because Paul wasn't concerned about who was paying him or how, if they were going to take care of him, or no, he only cared about pushing the word. He only cared about the gospel. Matter of fact, before I read that one, let's go. I think that's how it goes. Come on. I think it's let's see. There it is. Let's go here real quick. This is 1 Corinthians 2:1. It says, and I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of the Most High. For I determined not to know anything among you save Yahweh Shah HaMashiach and him crucified. Right? So that was the only thing he was concerned about, was preaching the gospel of Yahweh Shai. Okay. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much trembling. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and power, that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of the Most High. Right? So he wanted to be an example. Right? He wanted to demonstrate the power of the Lord in himself. Right? He didn't try to trick anybody, manipulate anybody. He was a walking example, as the Lord Yahweh Shai was. Right? So let's go back over here because he touches on this a little bit, this topic specifically. This is 1 Corinthians 9:11. It says, if we have sown unto you spiritual things, is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things? Right. So what is he saying here? We're giving you this thing to grow your spirit, which is a great gift. We're giving this to you. So is it a big deal that we should get some carnal things from you, money, food, room and board, if you will, right? If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather, right? We giving you the truth, right? We giving you something that can save you. Other you giving it to other people for less, right? But we'll listen to what he says here. Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things. Least we should do what? Hinder the gospel of Hamashiach. So he was careful with how he let's say was around people and used people because he didn't want to hinder the gospel. Let's go into that word hinder. See what it says. Hinder. It says engope, a cutting made in a road to impede an enemy in pursuit, a hindrance, right? So you don't want to stop people from getting to where they need to go, as far as their spiritual growth and you know connecting back and repenting to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You don't want to stop people from doing that, but these types of things do that. Now, my guess is that this woman is not going to leave this congregation, right? And whatever, right? If you don't want to do that, then fine. But there are people that watch that and say, "Yeah, see this. Why I don't fuck with the Bible." And then they'll take this to mean that the scriptures aren't real or the scriptures are fake, or that's the white man's book because of things like this, man. Because of actions and behaviors like this. Okay. So that's it. That's all I had. Um, Hopefully, as always, that was edifying. I want to give all praises, of course, to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who ruled well. Honor and salutation to the elect. And with that, I say shalom.